Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm here with the man himself, Nick Sowden at Barca Sound, and we are going to review the new Cali LP-UNFs, the UNFs, and apparently they've given us a pair to give away for free, so you can enter down below to win. But without further ado, let's check these little beauties out and see what they sound like.
I think one speaker is a primary speaker with this stuff. So the other speaker then connects to it. I think that's what this is.
Right.
This is a custom cable.
Something nifty, quite substantial, not cheap and light, bit of weight. Couldn't tell from looking at that photo how big they would be. So this is what, 4.5 inches?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. So 4.5 inch driver here, tweeter at the top, and you're saying you believe this is the same tweeter in the...
I don't know. That looks completely different.
It does look completely different.
So, but it's certainly the same tweeter as they use in some of their other speaker range.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at exactly what.
Design in California, Lone Pine, Ultra Nearfield Studio Monitor System. So this is input from primary. So I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it, which one comes on? And you're saying you had a quick look at the manual, and it says that they come with limiters.
There is, I guess, they have a built-in limiter circuit so that you can't blow them up by accident. Let's try.
It definitely looks like a lot of speakers. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, a wall of speakers.
Looks like a lot of speakers. Does that cable got caught? Yeah, it did. Okay, beautiful.
Okay. And up there.
All righty. Let's get L cableage out.
And it says on these that the primary speaker by default is the left speaker.
That's what I was hoping.
Which is where it is.
Yeah.
So we connect the left to the right.
I see a big plus and minus on here.
That is the volume control.
Interesting.
But it also has several other features. I think by pushing combinations and holding them, it's partly how you activate the Bluetooth mode. I think you hold both buttons, which is a cool feature of these speakers.
So Bluetooth is going to be fun.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
Be like having a studio monitor at your
if nothing else,
you're around the house all the time. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I think these are like $300. So my guess is that $300 whopping dollars. If you did have a second set of speakers, and these were just your second set of speakers, you could use them for reference. You can use them for chicken mixes, but you could also use them for going like, quick way to play off my Bluetooth device, tooth device.
Another cool thing I can imagine with these is if you do any remote recording.
Yeah.
They'd make a great traveling set monitors probably, because they're not ridiculously big, but they've got a pretty wide frequency response. They'd be pretty useful to kind of...
I agree.
Check that out with.
Let's see how they sound. When I was mixing it out, I enjoyed using the Calis more than the Iron 5s, more than the Quested.
I know you keep saying that.
What do you feel? You just never Quested.
No, I don't. I don't. It's just... I do like them, but I'll tell you what I've been using over the intervening weeks, the Calis quite a lot in a bid to kind of get more used to them. And what I have found these is that I really like the way that mixes are translating, actually. I find that they sound, to me, I think they sound a little bit more forward in the mid-range than the Questeds do. But that's really useful.
The Questeds have like a better 7K and above. They're like brighter.
Yes, yeah, because these had at least when we measured it on the software, these had a high kind of dip, which I'm still using this arc for.
So using the arc as well. This is good. What I like about this is often, you watch the YouTube reviews, of which we've done many, and you realise the only time somebody's telling you about this new piece of gear that they absolutely love, the only time they actually use it is when they're making the video. And all the stuff we've done together is still set up and still being used. Nick uses the Neumann MT48. So we have the MT48. That is your main interface, yeah?
Yeah, I do use it a lot because it's got great sounding conversion, hasn't it?
So great sounding conversion. He's been using these speakers and he's using the ARC. All of the things that we've reviewed here have stayed in situ, which is great. I love it. We had the same thing with the LP6s. When we first tried them out, we put them up on the SSL and they didn't leave. And we just ended up using them all the time. And then we swapped out some of the bigger ones from here to there because it's our responsibility to change our speakers and give people honest opinions. But it's lovely to see the gear being used properly and consistently.
It's how you get to know it, isn't it? And that's really where you discover its value.
Great. So are we going to do this non-arc? Because we're not.
Yeah,
we're going to bypass the arc. But are we going to
just doing that?
So, but are we going to listen to the IM5s and the Quested through the arc or not?
We can do.
Let's listen to everything flat. Let's listen to it without it.
Yeah, and
because then we're hearing the speakers in this environment, which again, Nick knows his Quested speakers in this environment, so it would be a great kind of balance. And I still like the IM5s even without the arc on. That came later. Yeah. IM5s came first. Yeah. Arc came second. Although the arc really, we had the same thing when we used SonarWorks and Room EQ Wizard, REW. All of those experiences we had, what we liked about the Calis was they always became competitive with the far more expensive speakers by the side of it.
The Cali LP-UNFs are a bit quieter to start with. So they've got a kind of volume control on the front with this plus and minus symbol and a row of LEDs across the front of the primary speaker. So you do this and it turns them up. I'm just going to turn them up. Well, actually, I'm going to play some music and turn them up. And flick to another set for a sec. More like it. And fully up. They are very similar in volume to the other Calis set to 0 slow.
Which is which?
This is
IN5s. It's okay, IN5s.
What is it? IN5s at the moment. LP-UNFs.
Turn the sub off, please.
Right. This is the new ones.
Yeah. Back up. Not bad. I mean, the obvious difference is some of the low mids. That's the IM5s, yeah?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Go back. That's the IM5s. Yeah. So that's very 700 to 1.5 prevalent.
Exactly. It's got that mid-range, you know, kind of like forwardness. So these are kind of more scooped slightly, but not overly at all. Just
go on the vocal now. This is the difference. Go back to the other ones. Okay. It's a little difficult. Is this something you recorded?
no.
Yeah, it's a little difficult because the vocal is incredibly EQ'd. It sounds whatever speakers we're listening to, I feel like it's incredibly kind of, scoopty. Somebody's really had a go at it. Now, it might be that she's singing very much like this, because I thought initially, when you were on the top ones, I was listening to the IM5s because I was like, oh yeah, you know, that's because it's probably lacking a little bit of low mids. But then when you went between the two speakers, I think it's the vocal production. You know, what do we have that's maybe that was great though. Don't get me wrong. But we need to hear some different voices. We got something with a more like voice, a thicker sounding voice. Great singer.
What are we thinking? This is almost my most hated bit, trying to think of these things.
Well, I'm going to be selfish and just use the stuff that I recorded and I know really well. It's the only way I can work. You know, I'm not because that's what I'm saying. That I didn't help. So if I go to here.
We sit down, it's just talk. Smiles politely back at you. You stare politely right on through some sort of window to your right. She goes left and you stay right. blame. You began to wonder why you came with the lack of a run. Lost somewhere alone in the bitter depths of the obstinate.
I mean, they're remarkably similar. They're different, but they're remarkably similar.
They're very familiar, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely whatever the drivers are. It does feel like, and what do I know, but it looks like the tweeter here very much resembles the inner part of the tweeter of the IM5s, of the coaxial. I'm going to go to the song Hey Now by Augustana, and the reason why is that it's got a lot of low mids in the vocal. I think this will really help us identify
The two.
there's a shift in the guitar, isn't there?
I just find in that upper mid-range, these sound like you say more 1K-y, and then in the higher bit, these are brighter, aren't they? To me, but just like so that
A little bit.
there's a bit more edge to, there's a bit more top to it all, which makes sense because uncorrected, these had quite a big dip around 10, 12K, or maybe no 12K, 12, 15K, but it's that kind of real top end that's, for me,
I can't believe how much lows is coming out there. Listen to the vocal.
You say it doesn't hurt.
There we go here.
it's amazing.
It doesn't matter anyhow. Anyhow.
Oh,
You say, hey, we're just bleeding for nothing.
it's weird. I feel like I would be probably mixing the vocals more on those than I would on those. It's interesting, isn't it? It's like,
What about trying just,
please.
let's try correcting the IM5s
Yeah.
for a minute. I just want to see what happens to that sort of, what the correction does, and then how they match up at that point. But when we switch, we'll have to do a 2-button sort of shuffle at the same time.
So
But that'd be really interesting.
let's listen to IM5's corrected.
Because then the other thing is, I mean, I don't know. I guess the desk and the stuff on the desk and what is going to create some filtering. Is it some kind of it's going to create some
Well, then what we
reflections.
should do is we should go to the recommended dip switches for this position,
Yes,
for
we
the
should.
new ones,
Yeah.
for the oomph, and then for the IM5s, we should go for with the arc correction on it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So IM5's corrected with room correction, EQ, and then the Cali oomph, the other Calis, we're going to just use the dip switches on the back with their recommended correction. Let's do that. We're going to listen to the IM5s with the room correction on. Here we go. Back. Yeah, I don't know about you. I prefer hearing those, not room corrected, compared to the IM5's corrected. It just gets too bright for me. It gets far too bright. And I know there's a dip in that 10, 11, 12, but it starts to get very brash up there.
But yeah, I think that is true. It does.
Crowded.
But
Crowded, I should say, in the high mids. Very
It
crowded.
seems to me that, but what I like is that it seems like it helps you not to overmix the top end then, because they're a bit bright.
Sure.
It's like you don't end up with mixes that you take out and then it's like, whoa, these are,
Sure.
you know.
I suppose like anything, bottom line is if you're used to it, that's how you mix. If you're used to something, then you mix for it. Okay, well, it was an interesting test. For me, $300 a pair, pretty darn good. I want to hear Bluetooth. How easy is it to connect Bluetooth, one wonders?
I think it's quite simple.
Okay, I read something about pressing buttons on the front.
3 seconds, I think. I think
So
you push
let's-
both the plus and minus buttons for 3 seconds. And then I think that probably puts it into sort of Bluetooth pairing mode.
Okay.
And
All
I guess then on the computer, I will go, or your phone. What do you want to play off?
I'm going to play off my phone. So that's more exciting to me. So
So if I've got this right, I'm going to hold these for 3 seconds, Shortly after which it should pop up on your list.
Okay, let's see if that works.
LEDs are flashing on the front, which I think says it's in pairing, means it's
Oh
in
yeah,
pairing mode.
LP-UNF.
Boom.
Now it's giving me the wheel of death, and it says connected. Let's see if it really is. If it really is that simple, then I'm very happy. Let's go to some Trevor Hall, which would be another reference point I would use. Let's play Green Mountain State. Jeez. That's great.
Cool. Really easy.
It's recorded on Kasha's drum kit.
I go to the Green Mountain
They sound, look, they sound really good, don't they?
Hold on.
I go to the silence you make.
They do sound really good.
Yeah.
Do you live inside,
Yes.
outside me?
They sound so full.
It's ridiculous how good they sound for the size. And I suppose that is what has made Cali so successful and why they're just kind of kicking everybody's butts in many ways, in a good way, because now every manufacturer is competing and making also amazing products. So great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the wired connection and put the sub in so we can do one last test on that. Can't believe it's coming out of these little speakers.
It's my war cry. Echo, 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 echo all skies. Echo, echo, echo. This is my.
So this is my gut. They've got a lot of products now. I think my just gut 3 favorite products of theirs are the LP6s. I like the IN5s more than I like the IN8s. I don't know what it is about these smaller ones, but I really do. And now I like these. Yeah, and they've got like 8 products or something like that.
Yeah.
But I really do like these. These, because of the pricing and the Bluetooth and the connectability and just the ease of use. I mean, they're connected to how often have you tried to connect something in Bluetooth and spend like an hour doing it? I'm exaggerating, but it's always like, I can't connect, reset the blah, blah, blah. That works straight away.
Yeah.
Like straight away. And I've never had my phone work straight away with anything. That's amazing. This is really good. Really, really good. Callie, excellent work. I think we're giving away a pair. I think we are. Well, if we're not, we're doing it now. So there's a link, there'll be a link down below to win a pair of these beautiful speakers. That's the Callie LP-UNFs, or as we like to call them, the LP-UNFs. UNFs.
Okay, interesting. They're actually a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. Okay, these are absolutely adorable. You can tell I've done a lot of unboxings, right? The Elite chuck and grab and catch. Don't expose my bum. This isn't OnlyFans, Alex. This is YouTube. Okay, so the speakers are now set up, so I'm going to have a listen to some of my productions and things that I've worked on. These are pieces of music that I know really well, but I'm really interested because they really are tiny speakers. So yeah, much smaller than I thought they would be when I pulled them out of the box. But let's just see how they sound. Let's jump straight into this. Mid-range is solid, not having any issues there. Bruv, what? Wait a minute. Okay, sorry, as I react to get excited to things, but these sound way larger than they actually are, and that's something that I wasn't actually expecting. Okay, these are absolutely adorable. It's the low end, the amount of bass. I don't know what the innovations have been in technology recently, but the amount of low end that we're able to get out of such a small speaker is beyond me. I don't understand it, but what I can say is that definitely blew me away. But let me keep listening. Honestly, they're also sounding like super punchy as well. Now, of course, they're not sounding like Amphion 218s. There's a massive price difference, but I'm listening to these speakers with the perspective of how much they cost, which I believe is like £299. And for that price, to be able to still get a sense of the stereo field, to be able to hear reverbs, and to be able to have this large soundstage beyond the speakers themselves is absolutely dope. So, but let me check out some other music as well. Some stuff that has vocals in it.
Like you did that night and whisper in my
Bruv. So I know I keep saying bruv, but at the low end, I don't know if it's translated over YouTube, but what I'm hearing here in person, these speakers are punching, like that kick is slapping, that kick is hitting. For such a tiny woofer, and I'm hearing all of the bass and the vocal sounds good. Like, the thing you have to keep in mind is, of course, the more you spend, the better a speaker will be. But a lot of the questions people ask me when they're first starting out is, I don't have the largest budget and I need to get an interface, I need to get a microphone, I need to get my computer, and I need to get studio monitors in there as well. And behind the computer, the largest expense after that usually is the studio monitors or the microphone. Now, we've had innovations in audio interfaces where you can get a really good quality one like the Focusrites for a lower price. We've had really great innovations in microphones. I know there's many companies that are making good quality microphones for cheap. But with studio monitors, there was always that barrier of entry where you had to just spend above a certain amount. And I'm so happy that a company like Cali Audio has now come across. I'm not actually familiar with Cali Audio prior to doing this video. So this has been a real eye-opener for me, because if I'm now recommending a setup to someone, I'm going to say, you can get an interface for around 150, you can get a decent mic for around 200, 250, you still got around 400, 300 left to buy studio monitors, £299, you can get these. They're not going to be overwhelming where they bother the neighbors or anything like this. They're not going to create too many problems in the room by exciting room resonances. So they're really going to just fit into a space a lot easier than something that's much larger. But ultimately, like £299, it actually doesn't make sense. These should be more, and I'm almost cautious to say that on camera because I don't want them to increase their prices. But the price that you're paying for these, like, it doesn't make sense. However, my first reactions are always going to be ones of either extreme excitement or extreme disappointment. But that can change after a few days. So I'm going to sit with these speakers. I'm going to have a few clients. I'm going to work on them. And then I'll give you my final conclusion on what I think of these monitors.
Several days later.
Okay, so I'm such a kid. I've always wanted to just spin around like this in one of these videos. I've had these speakers. I've been able to live with them for a little while. And I can say that I wasn't overexcited. They actually are really, really fantastic speakers for the price point. And I know initially I said these are great for people who are starting out, who are getting into production, but I actually would argue the case that even if you're a mix engineer who's been doing this for a while, these are actually a fantastic second set of monitors, because I had this mix that I was struggling with, and when I played it on these monitors, what became really obvious to me was any level issues that I had where a vocal was just too quiet, a kick was just too loud, a piano was just too muddy. These things were really obvious, and I found it really helpful in actually setting the levels of things on these monitors. So I would recommend them to anyone who's a beginner getting into production. Fantastic price point. I think they're an absolute fantastic second set of monitors as well. But my name's Alex Elliott, and that's been my opinion on the Cali Audio LP-UNFs.
Okay, so now I'm going to have a go at using the IK Multimedia Arc Studio System analysis software to measure what the speakers are actually putting out in this room in the listening position, and just to see how that compares to the Cali In 5s underneath them and to just get an idea of what's going on in here acoustically. Okay, so I've got the new measurements that the Arc Studio system, or the Arc 4 Studio system, has just taken in here with the Cali LP-UNFs, UNFs. And as we can see, let me just see if I can take the afters off here for a second. Let's put them onto default for a minute, or flat. Yeah, I mean, these on the graph, I haven't listened to them yet, but there's a little bit of this pronounced sort of low end boost really in the befores here between 100 and 200. Got 3 or 4 dB, maybe 5 at its most on the right hand side. So there's this little tip up there and a little kind of dip around the 500 hertz kind of mark. But then from about a K upwards, it's pretty flat without any, it's doing very little correction the whole way up, less so than it is with the in-5s at the moment. So let's see how that sounds.
Echo, 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 oh skies. Echo, 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 this is my tribe, all is inside. Mother speaking, a lion she ride. Body tempo, the song my home. Listen closely, the sound of old. Bow and arrow, steadily we aim. Tell all of the people we shoot out the frame. Skulls on her neck, third eye go ablaze.
I mean, the main thing I'm aware of on this mix is just it concurs really well with like what the graph's saying to me on the low sort of 100, 200 hertz region, where it's like the room correction's just leaving or sort of losing a slight kind of shadowing in that area that I think is happening in the room. And it just cleans that up a little bit. But other than that, it's not, for me, it's really not changing the character of the rest of the mix and the rest of the frequencies in the mix very much at all, which is brilliant, because I think in comparison to the Questeds or the other Calis, or indeed any other speakers that I've measured in here before, it's almost doing the least correction to any of them, which is pretty cool for a speaker that you might, well, it's great the idea that you could, I love the idea of taking these around with me, because I do a bit of remote recording here and there, and having something that you can trust, room accepting, is very valuable, very useful.
I'm amazed at how good they sound for this size.
Yeah, they do sound brilliant.
Yeah, amazing.
And they're really nice to listen to.
Yeah.
And they represent, I mean, the sub makes quite a difference on this mix with the low end,
Right.
but even without it, still sounds great. And it is miraculous, yeah. It's like, it's a tiny box. I mean, it's not much bigger than those kind of Auratone rip-off box, you know, really. Yeah.